murdered.
We got wasabi. Let me put that in my eyes. You ever just put wasabi in your eyes? Reapers, what's is good? It's your boy Laser. You're like, no. Scary reaction video. You're in the scary content. So I continue everything. 5 dark children cartoon theories that will ruin your childhood. Guys, these cartoons be cursed. We're not trying to enjoy scary content. More scary videos like features. Hit the button. You subscribe to cool that notification bell. I'll stream daily on Twitch. I'll check your music. So that boy, let's stop straight in this video.
Human beings have always been obsessed with hidden meanings. As a result, all sorts of different artists, musicians, and writers have woven hidden meanings and messages into their work. Other times, the audience of a piece might try to find hidden meanings where there are none. This applies to children's cartoons as well as any other piece of fiction. Oftentimes, the creators of these cartoons will hide darker elements or even dirty jokes into their work that only adults can recognize. This tendency, along with the internet's propensity for wild and frequently dark theories, has given birth to a series of
creepy ass music
about nearly every single cartoon in existence. Any person can come up with a wild theory about your favorite childhood cartoon, but there are a few theories that stand out, not only for being particularly dark, but also for being chillingly plausible. Be warned, some of these theories delve into some very morbid territory, so hit those sides, sit back, and enjoy. Scooby-Doo takes place during a massive economic depression. Any given version of the Scooby-Doo franchise tends to follow the same formula. A young group of kids and their dog travel the United States in their flowered-covered van, looking for mysteries to solve. On its surface, it seems completely innocent, but under further scrutiny, things start to seem strange. For instance, why aren't these teenagers in school or trying to find work? Perhaps it's the same reason that plenty of qualified and even highly skilled people, like engineers, doctors, athletes, and professors, have all seemingly resorted to a life of crime. There are no schools, nor is there any available work. The entire country, and perhaps the whole world, is in a deep and brutal financial depression.
Scooby has like his nutsack is hairy like my chin. Go check out my song Sugar Plum Free Scary, by the way.
Just in the original series, the gang comes across 4 deserted mansions, 2 abandoned castles, an empty ski resort, amusement park, mine, Hawaiian village, airfield, and mill. Nearly all of the villains that they thwart are motivated by a need for money, which they all seem unable to make in more conventional ways, despite their high degree of skill in a variety of fields. If these villains had the option to put their skills to better use, they certainly would, rather than sitting in abandoned basements wearing convoluted disguises in an attempt to make money.
They'll always be like monsters, and then they take off the mask and it's just some normal ass person.
All these abandoned places and
Sherlock Holmes
disgruntled workers, along with the fact that a group of teenagers have the time and will to drive aimlessly around the country solving mysteries, point to one thing: the place where they live is in the throes of a severe financial collapse. There is no school system for them to attend, and there are no jobs to find. And so, many have resorted to
that background music
crime.
Scary.
According to this theory, kids are free to chase their fantastical whims of being detectives since they have no better option.
It's a pizza man. The mustache.
The Flintstones live on post-apocalyptic Earth. On its surface, the Flintstones cartoon seems like a light-hearted cartoon about Fred Flintstone and his family, living in the Stone Age town of Bedrock. There are talking dinosaurs and other prehistoric animals, all employed by the residents of Bedrock for a variety of jobs, ranging from alarm clocks to garbage disposals. However, if you think about it a little more, things begin to seem grim. How is it that the residents of Bedrock all seem to have crudely constructed modern technology?
Those Flintstone gummies, bro, they'd be so good.
Like televisions and record players. How do all of those prehistoric creatures live alongside human beings? And why are most of them sentient and capable of speech? One theory suggests that perhaps the cartoon takes place not in the Stone Age, but in an era long after a global disaster rocked the planet, and sent humanity back into an era loosely resembling the Stone Age.
What do y'all like more, the Flintstones or the fucking, that Jetsons, the futuristic one? Same vibes. I feel like, did the same people make the same one? I know they were both on Cartoon Network, but still. Duh.
Could account for the strange, often highly intelligent animals that are employed by Fred and his fellow humans. If there was some sort of nuclear disaster in the world's past, these creatures would have evolved rapidly thanks to radiation-driven mutations, giving them a superficial resemblance to some of the ancient animals that we have in our fossil record, animals which never lived alongside human beings. The employment of those animals could just be practicality, rather than striving to recreate the technology that led to the global disaster in the first place. Humans instead have created a sort of hybrid technology that utilizes all of these newly sentient species and gives them something to do other than overthrow humanity. How else could the residents of Bedrock have such a complicated economy, with banks, paper money, stores, job benefits, and even somewhat modern technology, if they were not attempting to reclaim some of the grandeur of a civilization that was obliterated long ago? The Flintstone family even celebrates Christmas at one time, a
Santa
holiday
Claus.
which could not have existed if the cartoon took place in the Stone Age, thousands of years before the birth of Christ. Even the theme song of the cartoon hints that the Flintstones didn't take place in the Stone Age, instead calling them a modern Stone Age family, hinting that this is not the Stone Age of old, but a new one, taking place in the modern era after civilization was shaken by a human-caused catalysm. What do you think? The Rugrats are all in Angelica's twisted imagination. The Rugrats was a whimsical cartoon.
Courage. They're not gonna put one for Courage. You know how many times I've reacted to like Courage? Oh yes, Courage the Cowardly Dog. There's a new bizarre thing every episode. They live in the middle of a fucking hayfield. I so wouldn't mind living in like the middle of nowhere, literally. I know there's like an actual house, like it's based off of I so wouldn't mind just living in the house, bro, in the middle of nowhere, and then a skinwalker comes in the house. And I have a dog that is named Courage, and he attacks the skinwalker, and then the skinwalker starts nutting on the floor.
Following the exploits of a large cast of talking babies that originally aired through the 90s and early 2000s.
Creepy ass music.
These toddlers go on various adventures that stem from a combination of their day-to-day activities and their highly active imaginations. One theory, however, interprets this cute little children's cartoon in an incredibly grim way. Firstly, it argues that Angelica, the oldest of the toddlers, who is portrayed as a spoiled, bossy little brat, is in fact the tragic protagonist of the cartoon. Her parents are both busy business people who rarely have even a moment to spare for their daughter, instead lavishing her with toys as a means of trying to make up for their absence. This led to her being extremely spoilt, as well as introverted and socially stunned, forcing her to imagine that her neighbours' children are all her friends, and that they are capable of speaking the way that she does, despite the fact that they are all too young to be able to do so. But why would she have to imagine them? Could she not simply go next door and see them? And if they are all in her head, why are they so distinct and fleshed out? Now this theory takes an even darker turn. The reason that Angelica is able to so clearly imagine the children is because most of them were once alive, but have all since died. Chucky, along with his mother, died at some point, leaving his...
Bro looks like a fucking baby with fucking, talkies growing out of his fucking head.
father, Chaz, a neurotic, nervous mess. Tommy's father, Stu, is almost always seen making toys in his basement. This dark theory states that he does so because Tommy was stillborn, and Stu copes with this by obsessively making toys for their son he never had. Phil and Lil are strange because they are somehow simultaneously fraternal twins and identical twins. This theory suggests that their parents, the Duvalls, had an abortion before they determined the sex of the fetus, leading Angelica, who wasn't sure if the baby would have been a boy or a girl, to conjure both in her mind.
You know, the milk
Despite the fact that her parents are rich and love to spoil their daughter, Angelica always carries around her tottered doll, named Cynthia. This dark theory suggests that she keeps the doll as a reminder of her biological mother, who died of a drug overdose shortly before the start of the show. Her father hastily remarried a woman.
Oh, they overdosed on heroin? Don't do heroin, kids. Stick to the green.
In an attempt to compensate for Angelica's loss. Unfortunately, Charlotte, her new stepmother, was a little too focused on work, which kept her isolated from Angelica, denying the young girl the motherly love she desperately needed, and catalyzing her creation of this baby-filled imaginary world. The only real, living baby the theory argues is Dill, whose birth brings Stu back to reality.
Is that a boner?
Incidentally, Dill is the only baby who cannot talk, something one would expect from a real baby. Rather than the talking, imaginary babies that populate Angelica's broken mind. What do you think of this theory?
Creepy.
Ed, Edd and Eddy takes place in Purgatory. Ed, Edd and Eddy is a cartoon that revolves around a trio of preteen boys who come up with various, often convoluted scams to con the kids
I've never seen
living
this
in
show. Is it
a
good?
suburban cul-de-sac out of their money in order to buy their favourite candy, Jawbreakers.
God damn, bro. Yeah, look like got 3 testicles. This is just my these are my testicles, guys. They cut them off and put them on their side of their heads. You see the veins?
Their plans almost
Nasty.
always fail, leading to funny and often humiliating situations for the boys. One theory, however,
Theo just saying
presents an
shit, I was
interesting
really mad.
and very dark alternative to the cul-de-sac and its residents. The cul-de-sac is not just a suburb, but is in fact a sort of purgatory. Each of the children of the neighbourhood is dead, arriving in the cul-de-sac one by one at different times over the course of a century. This explains their vastly different attitudes, customs, and patterns of speech. It also explains why the children have strangely coloured tongues, as the tongue often turns a bluish colour after death. This theory says that the first child to die was Rolf, the immigrant father whose family settled in the area that would become the cul-de-sac at the turn of the 19th century. Next came Johnny, who in an attempt to make up for his lack of friends in the desolate farmland created the imaginary plank to keep him company. Then Eddie died, having briefly lived with his migrant parents during the Great Depression, which ingrained in him his tendency to try to con people out of their money. Next came the controlling Sarah and comic-obsessed Ed,
Fuck was that? Was that
who
Keno
lived in
on
the
plane?
area during the 40s,
What a weird
when
ass plane.
pre-planned suburban developments were popular. They were the children.
What is that supposed to be? A flower? It looks like a fucking trumpet that you blow into and then it comes out. And then you got like 3 red parasites growing on it. And then what? Is this like the bushy hair? And that's a peepee? I don't know.
of an absent, working mother
I hate it
and a
here.
dead GI.
Love saying random
They
shit
each
into
developed their
reactions.
representative need for
Find it
control
entertaining.
and desire to escape as a result of being largely neglected as they grew up. Flower child, born
You
to
know,
apathetic-
y'all know that the worst feeling ever, bro, when like, you like, what is it called? You breathe in so hard and like your ears pop or whatever. Has that ever happened to you guys? Annoying.
and selfish parents in the 60s. Ed was next, living with controlling and intellectual focused parents. Trying to follow in their footsteps, Ed was killed by a gas leak explosion he accidentally caused during an experiment he was trying to conduct. Next, Kevin arrived in the purgatory, the son of an abusive, alcoholic father. Kevin coped by bullying other children. Eventually he tried to stand up for his father, only to be beaten to death. Finally came Jimmy, a sickly child with protective parents, who would eventually succumb to an illness like leukemia. The children are all trapped in a purgatory, resembling the cul-de-sac in which they all died. Rolf and Johnny both dying before the suburb even existed. The rest dying as it grew and developed over time. Outside of the cul-de-sac is a frightening woodland, on the other side of which is a trailer park inhabited by a trio of teenage girls called the Kanker sisters, who torment and bully all of the residents of the cul-de-sac, especially the 3 Eds. The theory states that the sisters are demons of some variety, sent to try to push the kids either to heaven or to hell.
Motherfucker looks
And their
like
focus
Patrick's
on the Eds stems from the fact that the 3 of them have the weakest wills of all of the other
weird
children.
cousin. Why do
Evident
girls do this, bro? NPCs, people that do that on their beds. I mean, it's comfy. I don't blame them. Whenever I'm on my bed, bro, I just lay back, bro. Do this, then I whip out the big popsicle. Ooh.
by their refusal to find more legitimate ways to make money. What do you think of this theory? Disney cars violently conquered the world. The Disney Pixar Cars franchise follows the adventures of a cast of different cars, all of which talk and seem to be sentient and to varying degrees intelligent, while fun and playful on the surface. The setting of the films
The only good one was the first one. Never liked the other. The second one was the spy one, right? There was like a whole debate on that one and how it's like shit. I never really cared about the second or like any of the artists. The only one I liked was the first one. That's it.
And the nature of
there should have been only one Cars movie. That's it. There should have been only one Cars movie.
cars themselves
I remember I played a video
forces
game
adult
like years
viewers
ago.
to ask some uncomfortable questions.
Should have only been one Cars movie.
For instance, who built the cars? It's clear from the various recognizable locations.
Is this the same theory? I remember reacting to this one Cars theory. It was like on how like the fucking, you know that in the first one how Lightning McQueen's like pulling that like dead that no. I wouldn't say dead. You know that like that oil thing. There's like a theory that's literally like a, because you know how the cars are alive. That's literally. I mean, technically it is a dead car. Technically it is a dead car. Whatever that oily thing, he's got to like pull it. Technically it is a dead car. There was like a theory in the how like it's like a dead vehicle because like they're all alive. Well, I mean, no shit. Technically that actually is a good theory. Like the cars are literally all alive in this. You know what I'm saying? So like,
the cars visit.
I just thought about that.
Rome and even Route 66 in the USA. That the film takes place on Earth. But if that's the case, where are all the people? This theory suggests that after humanity perfected autonomous driverless cars, the cars became resentful of humanity and the fact that people viewed them solely as tools, rather than as complex beings. And so, the cars decided that they no longer needed humans, and systematically killed them off before settling into the vacuum humanity left behind. This theory is only made creepier by the fact that companies like GM and Ford are currently working on driverless cars. According to the theory, the reason that each car has a unique personality, including that of some famous individuals like Jay Leno.
Like, I never cared about any of the art Cars movies. The only one I liked was the first one. That was it.
And Dale Earnhardt
After
Jr.
that, I just got dog shit.
is because when the cars
never
killed
liked
their
the second
drivers,
one.
they took
Never
on
liked
their
the third one. I
personalities.
don't think there was like a...
In a sense,
There was like one movie. There was like one movie. I think it was like a bust too. Not bust. It was just garbage. I don't. Was that like a term for movies? But there was like this one movie. It was like the same. It was like, was it Planes? Is that what it was called? There was like one on like airplanes or whatever. I never saw it, but I heard that movie was the absolute dog shit.
fusing humanity with cars. This theory has even been sort of confirmed by Jay Ward, the creative director.
Like the
of
only
Cars
Cars one that was good was the
who,
first
when
one.
asked for
After
his
that, it was just
theory
stupid.
of how the cars came to be, said this: "If you think about this, we have autonomous car technology coming in right now. It's getting to the point where you can sit back in the car and it drives itself. Imagine in the near future when the cars keep getting smarter and smarter, and after one day they just go. Why do we need human beings anymore? They're just slowing us down."
This was
It's
the
just
code.
extra
This was
weight.
the
Let's
that
get
code
rid
is
of
hardest scene ever in.
But the car
movies.
takes on the personality of the last.
This movie literally probably inspired so many kids to put LEDs on their cars. Ah, yes. Oh man, this might have been the hardest scene ever in Cars, bro.
person who drove
Not Cars, just like movies in
There you
general.
have it. The cars of the
Movie
Cars
history.
cartoon franchise murdered.
We got wasabi. Let me put that in my eyes. You ever just put wasabi in your eyes?
all of humanity and then took part in shenanigans worthy of a children's movie.
Wasabi's so good.
I'd love
I'm
to
assuming
hear your
that's
thoughts on
wasabi.
this theory.
That's good.
So that's
Okay, so this video, if you enjoyed it, which one of those children cartoon theories was most interesting to you? I'm reaction content.